We've got Genzin, another fantastic looking Shadowkin champion with a pretty interesting kit, but we want to see what he can do, so I decided to put some of my best gear on this champion and take him for a spin, so let's check it out in today's video. So let's start with the skills. We have a triple hit A1 with each hit filling the turn meter by 6% for a total of 18. This is great, also fantastic for the Fire Knight. We have the AoE nuke, which can place a 60% decreased defense with 100% chance if fully booked, but also each critical hit fills this champion's turn meter by 10%. This is pretty amazing here as well. Fated Vengeance, more turn meter increase, ignores unkillable and shield buffs, and it's going to be either 30% or 60% if the enemy has 50% HP or less after this attack. Also decreases the cooldown of this skill and the A2 if it kills an enemy, so this guy can definitely snowball. As for the passive, increase speed and resistance by 50 if there are less champions on our team compared to the enemy team. This is great. You certainly want a lot of resistance on this champion if you're going to, let's say, face torments in the arena, and we're going to check that out. As for the artifacts, we took the best gear from my Foley, which is basically anything that had like speed, crit rate, crit damage, accuracy really here. I didn't exactly focus on accuracy. I just wanted to see how hard he can hit. Same thing with the helm, same thing with the shield. We have speed boots, attack percent chest, and 6-star crit damage gloves. Of course, Savage would be better here. I just don't have that quality of gear in Savage on my account. I did get pretty lucky while farming the spider here on the test server. I managed to get an attack ring with 1 roll on attack percent. We don't have glyphs, sadly, on here, so I couldn't exactly push this further. We did get a 5-star crit damage amulet with 2 rolls on attack, so I suppose that's decent. And we got a 6-star attack banner, so this is not bad. I would probably build this guy exactly like this if it were on my account on the live server. So we have almost 5k attack, 186 speed, 100% crit rate, 265% crit damage. Could be better, but hey, you know, this is my account after all. And all the skills are done. And then for the masteries, we went with the usual with Helm Smasher. Now, I suppose also a Cycle of Violence here is good. Maybe I could have tried Opportunist instead to try and squeeze out a little bit more damage out of him, let's say in the arena, but this is what I decided to go with. We went into the defense tree here, hopefully try and increase his resistance even further when we're going to get debuffs on us. And then I went with counterattack, retribution, and the other one, which is deterrence, which is great, but be careful if you counterattack when there's a torment on the team, because the turn meter increase on the A1 will probably proc that guy. But now let's go do a few tests in the Fire Knight, where I first wanted to see how hard we're going to hit with a usual setup: increased attack, AoE decreased defense, and weaken into the nuke, right? So we are against the Fire Knight dungeon here, which is force affinity, so we're on top of that. We are strong affinity. We might get some strong hits. We also might get some basically Helm Smasher procs. We do have cruel gear on, so it's also hard to say if it is procking or not, but maybe with these numbers we can roughly estimate. So I do see 90k, 90k, 120k perhaps on the one on the back, so maybe that one got the Helm Smasher, and 110k for the champion all the way on the top left. So reasonable numbers, but we're not one-shotting waves with this basic setup. So instead, now what we're going to try and do is bring in other champions to push our damage even further, which is Gerpa Derptuck and Royal Guard in the lead for the increased aura buff. So Gerptuck here is going to poison us, which on top of the decreased defense and weaken and the increased attack is going to give us even more damage because of the way his passive works. So now we want to see how hard we're going to hit, but I also want to bring something else to your attention, which is the turn meter increase. So right here, we see Genji with a 50% turn meter boost. It means he's getting 10% off of each of those 5 champions. That's pretty amazing here as well. So we get reasonable numbers, higher than the previous time. We see 153k for the one on the top left. So now we're one-shotting champions. Unfortunately, still not all of them. We would need to bring other champions in to have even a further or bigger damage output, like let's say Bad Alcazar perhaps, but I don't think that's exactly achievable for everybody, so we're going to skip that. On this wave right here, we're going to see him go for his A3, Fated Vengeance, right there. So we deal a reasonable amount of damage, but now we're sort of out of sync with our Gerptuck, which is what I was saying before. So we're going before our Gerptuck, which is there to place the debuff on our team before we go into the nuke, right? So same thing here, we're going to get more turn meter increase. So again, be careful on how you try to speed tune this guy because of all the turn meter increases. So it might be a little bit hard to do. Now let's check the boss real quick, because I wanted to see if his AI was smart. Is this guy not going to do his A2 or A3 and do his A1 against the shield? Sadly, this is not a cold heart, and I really think that Plarium should look into this. Literally all the champions that have a like triple hit A1 should go for that first when the shield is up, or else this is kind of pointless on auto unless you perfectly speed tune this, but I don't think any of us are really going to do that, right? So a little bit unfortunate there. He also goes for his A2. So again, it's not perfect in terms of AI. He can hit relatively hard in dungeons, but now let's go check out the arena. For our first fight, we have a very typical increased attack, AoE decrease defense and weaken. We do apply AoE true fears here, but we don't have the opportunist mastery, therefore we're not going to see the full benefit of this. And it looks like our Genji is untouched as he's going to go into his nuke right there. So again, very reasonable numbers. We don't one-shot this Chris, but he can certainly be that nuker for you. In this next fight, I actually wanted to show you guys what happens when you have an enemy, Yoshi, on the team, where he gets to cut in and fear me across the board, but we do get a counter attack off the A1 of Genji, so I guess that's pretty nice. Unfortunately, we did not one-shot that Yoshi, and then we end up losing this one, but I thought it was neat to show you guys that yeah, you can't get surprised by this Yoshi, as we covered in yesterday's video, so shout out to this player for doing that as well. On this next fight, we also see another Yoshi cutting in yet again, so I think that's again how we're going to see a whole lot of Yoshi in the arena, and sadly the true fear is going to prevent our Genji from going into the AoE nuke. Well, that's all right, because we're going to cycle back around and we're going to see that A3, and he's going to go for the Yoshi right coming up next, I believe. Boom, 145k. That's still pretty impressive. Then I think we get provoked, and so we're going to see the A1 on that. I believe he's called the Master Butcher, the enemy champion on the far right. So right there, pretty reasonable numbers there as well. Okay, so certainly is interesting in the arena, but be careful on when you're going to face Yoshi. For this final fight, I wanted to face a Torment. So we're going to speed boost. Our Lydia gets frozen, but we counterattack off the Mastery with Genji, and we don't get frozen off the turn meter increase, all right? And we're also going to go into our A2, which don't forget is going to give us a turn meter increase, and we get frozen. See, so that's what I mean. Very dangerous when you're going to face a Torment. A lot of possibilities for you to get frozen. Also, if you get like provoked or anything like that, that means you're going for the A1. You're also going to get frozen off that, or chances are you're going to get frozen. So certainly your worst nightmare is a Torment. Still pretty useful as a dedicated nuker. Now, as a bonus, let's go check out the campaign, because this guy can farm with a reasonably fast time. So the way he's going to get the turn meter boost, but also reduce the cooldown of his skills here, is therefore getting that AoE to come right back up. So we got 9 seconds on the first attempt there, but then as I set auto into 2x multiplier right off the bat, we do get a slightly faster time. So if you have this guy as a dedicated nuker, on top of that, he can be your farmer, because, you know, 8 seconds is very reasonable. So there you have it, guys. This is my showcase of Genji. I'll quickly show you the stats yet again before I let you go. Certainly a great champion, one of my favorite ones so far on the Shadowkin faction. We don't have a whole lot of them, but I think between him, Taragi the Frog, and Yoshi, those are my 3 favorite ones right now. So 186 speed, 100% crit rate, 265% crit damage, 5k attack. All the skills are done. Full cruel gear, Helm Smasher for the tier 6. We have Cycle of Violence. I don't think you actually need it for this to work for him as a farmer, but then I will also suggest, if you're going to go into the defense, be careful with the counter attacks because of the turn meter increases when you're going to face Torments. Quick snapshot of the Great Hall. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will catch you later.